Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. And on today's episode of The Prime, we're bringing you our Chicago Bears season preview episode, a team that is near and dear to me and Mr. TJ Hopkins' heart. Of course, I'm your host, David Huffman. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. We're going to be breaking down the Chicago Bears season preview as we are swinging into the NFC North, the black and blue division. And TJ, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I might not be the most responsible person on the planet. Yeah. I was calling my car. I called my insurance company because I felt like I might owe them some money. Also, in the welcome to the show, CEO of Prime Plus World, Israel Rivera. But yeah, I called my car insurance company because I thought I might owe them money. Not only did I owe them money, my insurance policy had been canceled since May. Like I've been driving for 3 months with no insurance whatsoever, including a trip to Colorado.
You're a criminal.
Hey,
get this guy out of here. Put him in shackles.
But not my finest moment. But I took care of it. I got have insurance now, all paid off. So let's talk about the Chicago Bears, baby. A lot of offseason moves, a lot of shakeup on this roster. Let's talk about some storylines as we swing into the Chicago Bears. Let's talk about year number 2 under Brian Poles and Matt Eberflus. What are your expectations for this front office and this coaching staff as the Chicago Bears move into year 2 under Eberflus, sorry.
Obviously, you don't want to be the worst team in the league again. So, yeah, improve there. All right, like,
that's number one.
Right. That's number one, right? Is he like you can't be no worse than what you already are, right? Like you're the worst. You were the worst team in football last season. You don't get no worse. Right, so obviously, you want to improve your win total, and you made moves to do that, to improve that. So yeah, year 2 under Eberflus and Ryan Poles, it's just put a better product on the field. It's almost like you got guys that bought into the system, even though they were terrible last year, right? You heard very little complaints outside like the normal. Stuff that players say when you lose a lot, right? It wasn't fire this guy, trade me, get this guy. Like it was none of that. Like it was, all right. Like we understand this is a process. It's gonna take a minute. We gotta stay with it. Like yeah, it's gonna be so. Year 2, just improve.
I'm a big fan of what Ryan Poles has did this offseason. Just the way he's reworked this defense, the way he kind of fleeced the Carolina Panthers to move back in this draft, and acquire assets that way. I think the Bears, if you continue to get better in the passing game, I expect the Bears to be. I don't expect them to be the worst team in the NFL this season. I expect them to be much improved.
Is he?
Yeah. I mean, you guys pretty much said everything that I probably am going to say. I mean, I'm going to regurgitate the same things that David and TJ said. I mean, you're the worst team in football last year. The only, what happens when you hit rock bottom, right? The only way to go up, the only way is up, right? You can't go any more down, right? So you only can stay down, right? And I don't think this front office is doing that. I think they had a great free agency, a good free agency. I think they had a good draft. They addressed needs in the draft. I think you have a good young quarterback. I just think that what we need to see out of that coaching staff and out of that front office is just improvement in the areas that you were terrible on last year, which is the offensive line, which is pretty much the offense and the D-line, pretty much the offense as a whole. Besides running the football, the passing game was non-existent. So we want to see more of that for the Chicago Bears and under Matt Eberflus. And another thing I want to say under Matt Eberflus, this is probably going to go perfect into the next Justin Fields expectations, right? Is Matt Eberflus going to open the playbook more for Justin Fields this year instead of holding his hand and simplifying the playbook? Are you going to open it up and let the kid chuck it? This year.
I think that brings us a nice segue right into the next expectations when it comes to Justin Fields. I mean, 400 more passing yards this last season than the year before, 700 more rushing yards this season than the year before, 6 more rushing touchdowns, 10 more touchdowns, only 1 more pick, even though he played 3 extra games this most recent season. Yeah, so swinging right into that. I didn't mean to cut you off there, TJ, but swinging right
There you
into
go.
that. What are your expectations for Justin Fields here? And this is an offense that has some firepower on it now. You get Chase Claypool with an entire training camp. You can add DJ Moore in the trade with the Carolina Panthers. Like, what are we expecting out of Justin Fields this season? I know Dan Orlovsky, I don't know if he was being facetious or not, but he said Justin Fields could be in the MVP conversation this year.
No,
I'm not going to say anything that ridiculous.
He was not being facetious at all. He 100% believes that.
But I think there's a real opportunity here for him to take another step, take another leap forward. What are we expecting out of him stat-wise? I mean, there's 3,000 yards passing, realistic expectations of the season. 25 touchdowns. What are we expecting?
It's a realistic expectation. Eberflus doesn't run the offense. Getsy runs the offense. And to Izzy's point, the Bears were one of the best teams in terms of like opening game drives. They were like top 5. It was literally the
they were awesome.
It was literally the rest of the game that was an issue. And again, we saw like the offensive line was terrible. Fields had some questionable decisions, etc. Receiving core didn't help. And Darnell Mooney getting hurt, going down didn't help. Claypool was obviously trying to learn the playbook on the fly ever since he got traded here. David brought that up. You get a full offseason training camp with him. That should improve. Like, it's geared Justin Fields' expectation, 3,000 to 3,500 yards, 25 to 30 touchdowns. He should improve across the board. Like, you don't trade for DJ Moore if you don't think he can take that step. Hey, it's at this point, it's like I hate to bring him up, but because he contradicts himself so much, and it's like this was literally like a week apart in between takes. Like Colin Cowherd says, 1 week he says the Bears are going to lose the division, they're going to be the worst team in the division, and then the next week he literally says there's no more excuses for Justin Fields. So I'm like, which is it? Are they going to be the bad team, or is it no more expectations for the quarterback? Because it can't be both.
Well, yeah, I think the expectation. I think when you realistic, I think 3,500 yards is a realistic expectation for Justin Fields this season. He added DJ Moore. I expect him to have a combined 30 touchdowns, both in the air and on the ground. I don't necessarily think he's going to rush for 1,100 yards again. This
You don't want him. You don't want him to do that.
He doesn't need to.
But I think 700. Using him in goal line situations with 10 rushing touchdowns, 700 yards rushing, like. I expect Justin Fields to make a major step forward.
Situational running, like third downs, extending the drive, goal line, red zone situations. Yeah.
And then I think also, TJ, what you kind of touched on with a little bit, the Bears being the number one scoring offense, like in the first drives of the game. I mean, those are all scripted plays. I mean, so it's when you get off script that I think the Bears kind of struggled last season. Like when you have those predetermined scripted plays, the first like 20, 30 plays of your game, are all scripted, all planned out. That's when the Bears really excelled. It's when they got past that point where there were some struggles. And, Justin Fields, I expect him to get better. I also like the fact that they added PJ Walker, who's like, if Justin Fields were to get hurt, God forbid, PJ Walker could run the same offense. Like, you don't have to change anything.
Yeah. So, realistic-wise for Justin Fields, I expect, especially with a full offseason with this wide receiver core and, another year under this offense, Luke Getsy and company, I expect, Justin Fields not to make – I always, kind of say, he's on that trajectory, that Josh Allen trajectory. Well, Josh Allen, year 3, had a major jump, right? From 3,000 yards passing to 4,500 yards passing and 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I don't expect that from Justin Fields, but I do expect at least, 3,500 yards and up. 25 touchdowns, make 10 interceptions.
And that, that
if
Josh
you can
Allen
keep it under 10
kinda,
interceptions, 62% of his passes
was kind of connected to like the Stephon Diggs trade, right? Like, so we also have traded for a perennial number one wide receiver in DJ Moore. I mean, that those parallels are awfully close and similar.
They're super close. Close. So,
he's definitely on that Hurts. He's definitely on that Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen trajectory. And I despise the fans well, the Twitter GMs, the couch GMs that knock that analogy. We're like, bro, like, did y'all think Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen came into the league like this? Like, they weren't what they are now. They were not that when they first got to the league. Eagles fans did not want Jalen Hurts. They were seriously questioning that pick. Josh Allen came into the league completing 52% of his passes.
I mean, Josh Allen, his second season, 3,000 passing yards, 20 picks, and 9 interceptions. They trade for Stephon Diggs.
Justin
The very
Fields,
next
17
season,
touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
70% completion percentage, 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 10 picks. And you added DJ Moore, who, I mean, he's not Stephon Diggs, but he's probably damn right there, right? You know, like.
I don't expect that, David, because he only had 2,200 yards last season, right? So I expect him to be at least 13 to 14 if you're going to make that jump, right? Because Josh Allen had 3,000 yards a year before, TJ.
Yeah, it's true.
So he made the 1,500-yard jump. So if Justin Fields does that to 3,500, I mean, not everybody's journey is the same journey, right? We all graduate at different dates. We all do different things, right? And so maybe it's year 4 to where Justin Fields hits that 4,500 so 30-plus touchdowns, 400 yards, 9 touchdowns on the ground. You know?
The one thing they all said, the one thing every coach on the Bears staff said is from that New England game on to the end of the season, Justin Fields was what they wanted him to be in the offense. Obviously, the only difference, it didn't translate into enough wins. Again, the Bears had 8 one-score losses this past season. 8. That means
not to mention this was a bad offensive line.
With a terrible offensive line, bro, and a terrible defensive.
Terrible weapons on the outside too.
So, like,
Cole Kmet was his only real consistent weapon, you know, last season. Like,
there were really no weapons.
I tell Vikings fans,
traded to TJ's point.
I tell Vikings fans this: the only difference between us and y'all is that y'all won your one-score games. We didn't. Like, Kirk Cousins was 8-0 in one-score games last season, or something better than that. And that means the ball bounced your way one more time or differently. You get that one stop, you get that one score. It's a different outcome.
And look, I get it. Justin Fields, and a lot of people say, man, he putting on that muscle. He looking to run for 1,000 yards, 100 carries. I mean, look, man, guys like him, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, you know,
that's the new NFL.
That's the new NFL. Lamar Jackson. You're looking at guys that are 45, 100 yards, 100 carries plus, goal line, guys where they can score 8 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns a game on the ground. They don't have to run for 1,100 yards like Justin Fields did. I don't expect that to happen in his career again. If it does, I mean, there's a problem. But I do expect Justin Fields to continue in his career, if he's going to be a starter, over 100 carries, at least 500 to 700 yards, 8 to 10 touchdowns on the ground, because he's still a big piece of what they do on the ground, and make the jump into the 33 to 3,500 passing yards, 66% of your passes. You went from 58 to 60% of your passes. That's good. That's improvement. I mean, you knocked down your interception ratio, your touchdown to interception ratio went up. So that was good last year. You improved in certain areas with a bad offensive line. What the front office did was improve the front office did was improve the offensive line. So now you should be able to have a cleaner pocket. Now you add a DJ Moore. You get another off season with Claypool, another off season with Darnell Mooney, another off season in Luke Getsy's offense. You're gonna make another jump, especially if you've been putting in the work. So that's my expectations for Justin Fields. And hey, look, Bears fans, at least if you're not the worst team if you don't make the playoffs, fine, that's cool. But at least an improvement is 8 wins, 7 wins. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are the worst team in football. If you're on the cusp or just about to make the playoffs, I think that's a successful season for Justin Fields. There shouldn't be no, we got to get rid of Justin Fields. Oh, we got to fire Luke. We got to restart. We got to hit the restart button.
You already know how that's going.
That's why you at the bottom.
You already know how. You already know that's coming.
moving on from the offense, let's talk a little bit about this defense. Let's talk a little bit about this. That's the moment during this match. Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, Eddie Jackson, and I guess Tyree Stevenson is technically starting right in corner, but then Kyler Gordon, who's a for last season. They also had the kid from Oregon, who's still on this roster, who played pretty well down the stretch there. Vildor is still on this roster. How good do you think this secondary can be this season?
Bojack was he was a few votes away from being a Pro Bowler until he got hurt against the Jets. He returned to form. He turned back into the ball hog that he was when he first got here. He had 4 interceptions last season before he got hurt. This is a big year for Jalen Johnson. He only has 1 or 2 career interceptions since being drafted here. But obviously, sometimes not having a lot of interceptions isn't a bad thing. That could also mean hey, dudes just ain't just throwing your way. That's that's the way I look at it. If you're a DB with a lot of picks, that means you get targeted a lot.
Yeah, Eddie Jackson had 4 picks last season.
Trevon Diggs. Anyway, I think the secondary can be fine. Again, you can't be no worse than what you just were, right? Bojack getting hurt didn't help. Jaquan Brisker, Jaquan Brisker was top 2 with the team on the team in sacks from the strong safety position. You don't want that. That's bad. That means because he's always in the box. You don't want that. But dude is a headhunter. I like Jaquan Brisker. He was a day 1 starter. Kyler Gordon had a rough first month of the season. After that, you saw Kyler Gordon pick up the pieces real nice.
He had 3 picks. Yeah, he was solid last season as a rookie.
Yeah. So again, to Izzy's point, you can't be no worse than what you were. Only way you get worse is if everybody legit just got hurt again. Bojack get hurt again. Jalen Johnson is a step behind, step slow, all that other good stuff. Izzy brought it up. You can't be no worse than what you already are.
I think when it comes to go ahead, David. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I think because of the stuff that he did in his offseason, right, with, dressing kind of the front 7 a little bit, I think their secondary is going to have, because I actually think the secondary, those four guys that are starting, including Kyle Gordon, I think that can make it part of being one of the better secondaries in the NFC. I like those guys. I think they're all really well done, and I think, if they can stop the run so they don't have to bring safeties in the box all the time, using linebackers of
Well, that's why they got T.J. Edwards and Jermaine.
We'll talk about him. We'll
talk about him. But you're right to your point, David. I think a good front 7, improving the front 7 is going to help out. Obviously, the secondary. They're going to, you rush the quarterback, a second or 2 faster than what he wants to, then the secondary has an advantage. I also, to your guys' point, I also like the kid that they drafted. I know we'll get to the draft too. But the kid out of Miami, Tyree Stevenson, we all know Miami always they pretty much are a turnstile for NFL talent on the defensive side. DBU.
I mean, he literally listed as the other starting corner right now. He's
right now.
If the season were to start, Jalen Johnson starting left corner, Tyree Stevenson starting right corner.
So that's how much. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about the kid. So
you just throw Kyler Gordon at the nickel spot, which is his natural spot anyway.
Exactly. Then Eddie Jackson, Jaquan Brisker, we already talked about. Then Kendall Vildor is bringing in that depth. So I think the secondary could be a top 10 secondary in the league. I think this could be a potential top 10 defense next year.
I'm not ready to say anything like that, but
I said potential. Well, outside looking in means potential. If they're in between 10 and 13, that's not bad.
Yeah, it'd be a vast improvement over what they did last season.
I think that's where they can be at this year, in between that 10 and 13 range, on the cusp of maybe being a top. But I think they could be a top. I think they can sneak in and be a top 10 defense when it's all said, barring injury.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think the secondary can be a top 10 unit for sure. I think they'll as long as they can generate some sort of patch on, I think the Bears will be hard to throw against next season.
We kind of saw it I saw that first game against Green Bay, right? Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's a tough outing, right? I don't care. You can be the best corner in the league. Aaron Rodgers can make you look stupid. He legit picked on Kyler Gordon like those first two drives of that game. I'm like, all right, he got a fish on the line. He got a fish on the line, right? Right, he kept going after Kyler Gordon, and he kept going after, and I'm like, okay. And Kyler Gordon, like, he got a deflection. I think after that, he kind of just, I deflected a pass thrown by Aaron Rodgers. Like that's hard. Like that's hard. I got a hand on the ball that Aaron Rodgers threw. That's hard.
Yeah, I mean, his completion percentage is just like ridiculously high. It doesn't let maybe has to get deflected. So
it's gonna be something to watch.
Moving on from there, let's talk about their draft. Obviously, they had the first overall pick in the draft. They traded back with the Carolina Panthers. They traded back twice, once with Philadelphia, once with Carolina, once with Philadelphia. They picked up a second-round pick next season and a first next year. They picked up Darnell Wright, offensive tackle. They took Javon Dexter, defensive tackle out of Florida. Tyreek Stevenson, who we kind of just talked about a little bit, cornerback out of Miami. Zach Pickens, defensive tackle, South Carolina. Roschon Johnson, running back out of Texas. Tyler Scott, wide receiver out of Cincinnati. Noah Sewell, Penny Sewell's little brother, linebacker out of Oregon. They might be twins, actually. Terrell Smith, cornerback out of Minnesota. Travis Bell, defensive tackle out of Keyshaw State. And then Kendall Williamson, safety out of Stanford. So what do we think about their draft as we're looking
special
at the names
teams?
Well, not necessarily. What's his name? Jack Sanborn was undrafted. He came in and and filled in for Roquan Smith pretty admirably, I might add. Obviously, I think the issue, not the issue, the word I was looking for. It'll come back to me, but the Darnell Wright pick, right? Everybody was, I guess, expecting Jalen Carter to, become a Chicago Bear, especially when he dropped the way that he did. Jalen Carter going into the draft was projected. Some had him going first overall until we traded out of that spot, right? And then it was top 3, top 4. Then all of a sudden he's past 5. Okay, he's past 7. He's past 8. Oh, he's right there for we trade back. Why did we trade back? And then Philly takes him, and everybody and Bears fans are, quote unquote, pissed off. And it's just, you gotta really think about some stuff, right? Like, this is a dude in Jalen Carter he had a bad offseason, right? A lot of question marks, a lot of bad stuff happened, bad combine. And the last thing you want to do is add bad to bad. All right, like, this is a team in the Bears that's like, hey, we need mature guys for what we're trying to do here. And Darnell Wright fits the bill. Not only is he mature, we also got to protect the franchise. Jalen
6'5", 333 pounds, ran a 5.01 at the 40-yard dash.
Fields ain't no good to nobody if he's constantly getting up off the ground. We saw it. Justin Fields got his ass kicked last year. A lot. Like, it was a lot of him picking himself up off the ground, offensive lineman helping him up off the ground. You don't want that. You don't want
Finished
that.
with the lowest blown block percentage in the SEC. Had 0 blown blocks and 380 designed rushes in 2020.
And that's the SEC.
The second most plays without a blown run block among all of offensive linemen. The guy is, he's tested. He's battle tested. He played in the SEC. He went up against Alabama three times during his career while he was at Tennessee. He's that good. I mean, I would have probably taken Broderick Jones over this kid, but I have no doubt that this kid's going to be a good football player.
I have no issue with the Darnell Wright pick. No issue at all.
I think it'll be good, man. If they needed a right tackle, they improved at both guard spots. Or they moved Jenkins over to the right guard.
Dexter is 6 foot,
Javon Dexter,
pounds, 488 yards, and a 40-yard dash. fastest time along all defensive
Yeah,
linemen.
so I was gonna say that. So the Bears did good in improving. And one of the biggest needs on defense was the defensive tackle position. This kid's big, 6'6", ran the 5th fastest time, and the other kid, Zach Pickens, that they got in the 3rd round, ran the 6th fastest time out of the DTs at the combine. Right?
It was a deep defensive tackle draft, bro.
And he's another
305
big boy
pounds.
too.
He's dropped down to 291 pounds at the combine. He ran a 4.89.
It was a deep DT tackle draft, bro. Like it was like they got 2 guys for the price of one.
Stevenson a little bit. Yeah, we talked about Tariq Stevenson a little bit. And then going Rashawn Johnson, backup. The one thing I think that is interesting, even though he was the backup at Texas, and he had the backup of John Robinson 2 years or so. 3.96 after contact. On his
he's hard to.
That's big. That means he's hard to take down. That means he's hard to tackle. That means he's physical. He's going to run between the tackles. That's what the Bears saw.
He was recruited to Texas as a dual threat quarterback. He was converted to running back in 2019. He had rushed for at least 400 yards and 5 touchdowns each of his 4 seasons as a college player. That's production right there.
That's production. Yeah. And again, like you're not going to get a lot of love because Izzy brought it up. The guy in front of you was a Heisman candidate. Like, how much love do you expect to get?
Tyler Scott.
He could have transferred. He could have went anywhere. He could have transferred.
Bro,
he stuck with the program.
He could have been a starter on a lot of teams. He could have been the starter on a lot.
Tyler Scott ran a 4.44 in the 40-yard dash. He has the speed.
That's a steal.
He's a junior Olympic sprinter.
That's a steal.
He's a guy who can just straight go. Like he's a guy that they don't necessarily have on this roster.
He was like a 2nd round, 3rd round grade. He went in the 4th round here.
Yeah, that's a steal.
And Noah Sewell, played a lot of. And they needed definite linebacker. This guy can play middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get some PT. He'll
absolutely
be on the special teams. He'll definitely be on the kickoff return, the punt return.
Oh, Noah Sewell?
Not the punt return, but he'll be on the kickoff and he'll be on the punt team probably. Yeah, Noah Sewell. He'll be on special teams. And
giving him a rotation spot. I'm 100% giving him a rotation spot.
He'll get a rotational spot. He might get some run. He might get some run behind some of the TJ Edwards.
Terrell Smith, probably a special teamer, round 5, 6 foot, 204 pounds. He had 4.5 tackles for loss. He had 2 sacks and 2 interceptions his final season as a Golden Gopher. This is a solid depth pick. Yeah.
That's a depth. That's a depth pick. That's a special.
He'll get some special teams time too.
Backup nose tackle when we talk about Travis Bell, 6 feet, 310 pounds. He collected 24 tackles, 11 sacks over 54 games while he was a member of whatever their mascot is at Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, whatever. I don't know what that mascot is.
It's not whatever. Be respectful. It's Kennesaw State. But the Bears run the 4-3. Right, Tremaine Ellis is listed as the starting middle linebacker. Right, guess who's his backup? Noah Sewell. So he gonna get some rotational burn. he gonna see that field.
Rappy is their mascot. What is it?
Rappy.
He's an owl.
Kennesaw State, is that an HBCU?
Do they qualify as an HBCU? I don't know. I don't think it is. I know it's in Georgia.
They're a public research university. I do not think they're technically an HBCU.
They're not. I know they're in Georgia. I think. Ain't they in Georgia? David, you looking it up?
Yep. Yeah,
all right, Angel. But David likes to surmise the draft by like he takes like the first 4 or 5 picks and says the draft class is going to be based off that. And according to this, so like obviously Darnell, every first round draft pick is going to get graded differently. Because you're a first-round draft pick, right? They literally designate one night of the NFL draft to the first round. So the first 6 picks?
Yeah, I think up to the cutoff is after.
You look at this draft.
I think the cutoff is after. I think the cutoff is after Sewell. That's me.
When you look at this draft, this is a good draft. I'm gonna tell you why this is a good draft. This is a good draft. I'm gonna tell everybody why this is a good draft for the Chicago Bears because their first 5 picks. I'm a Packer fan. First 5 picks. This is the same thing with the Packers too. But their first 5 picks, the Chicago Bears, they're all gonna play football.
All gonna play.
I mean, they're all gonna get they're all gonna be a contributor to that football team next year. Like you're gonna see them on the field at some point. Darnell Wright's gonna start. Gervon Dexter, he's gonna be a rotational piece for sure.
Yep.
And Zach Pickens. Tyreek Stevenson's gonna start, probably, most likely. Rashawn Johnson is gonna spell God, who's the running back? From
Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert. He's gonna spell Khalil Herbert. So those first 5 guys are gonna contribute to the team right away, and that's a good draft when your first 5 draft picks can contribute to the squad right away.
I think this is a solid B+. I'm also weighing the fact that they moved, and I think that I'm also weighing in the fact that they moved away from the first overall pick and picked up future draft assets plus DJ Moore. This is like a B+ draft for me.
Absolutely, I get an A-.
I will give it an A- because I think the first 5 guys on this draft class are going to contribute in big ways when it comes down to it. So
swinging from there, let's talk about roster shakeup. Obviously, their major additions: DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, Nate Davis, DJ Edwards, DeMarcus Walker, Deontay Foreman. Key departures: Riley Reif.
I forgot about him. He's definitely backing up. Rashawn Johnson going to be the third guy.
Deontay Foreman is listed as a starter right now. He's been productive everywhere he's went, from Houston to Carolina last season. Carolina basically dusted him off the scrap heap last year, and he was excellent for them as they almost won the division last year from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I think we talk about the first 4 guys for sure. TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edwards absolutely linchpin this offense, this defense at the linebacker position. Nate Davis is a solid guard, proven player, and DJ Moore is a number 1 wide receiver that the Bears have desperately needed, basically since Brandon Marshall left.
Yeah, I ain't gonna go back that far. Damn, David. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
He said Brandon Marshall. He said Brandon Marshall. Damn. Wait
who else does the Bears have?
Hold on. Say what you said again. You said the best receiver since Brandon Marshall?
Yeah.
Just disrespectful. Why are you disrespecting Allen Robinson like that?
Is it disrespectful?
Allen Robinson put up numbers.
Allen Robinson definitely put up numbers.
I forgot about Right.
That was
Allen Robinson.
So
I guess I was
so disrespectful.
You got a little too carried away over there. You kind of tend to do that. Okay.
I mean, obviously, David. I mean, David said this is the highlight of this before after we signed Tremaine Edmonds and those guys is we traded for DJ Moore. And Panther fans are just like, I'd rather have Bryce Young. Based off what? Y'all do realize what you did in college? They don't care. They don't care in the NFL. I ain't saying you.
Those are the Packer fans. You know.
I'd rather have Bryce. I'd rather have Bryce Young. Bryce Young is better than Justin Fields.
With six toes, and 3 eyes, and 5 nipples.
Like
web feet.
DJ Moore is gonna gonna take this offense to another level. Now, Bryce Young is kind of lucky because he don't have DJ Moore, but he did get Adam Thielen in free agency. That's he ain't DJ Moore, but Adam Thielen ain't no bum. So
sure.
So like he ain't no bum. Tremaine Edmonds. All right, we got Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards for the price of what we would have got for Roquan Smith. So we got 2 guys for the price of 1.
You got two really good linebackers.
4 years, $72 million. TJ Edwards at an absolute steal. 3 years, $19 million. It's only I'm not sure. I don't have the guaranteed money in front of me, but
I mean the year that TJ Edwards had for the Eagles last year.
Now
that's the reason why Nakobe Dean didn't get on the field.
Not to his point.
That was one of the best defenses, the best defense in football.
Not TJ Edwards. Like we gave you this. Like you did what you had to do to get paid. Now, just because you got paid, that don't mean you can. All right, I got my bag. I can slack off. No, bro. The production you gave Philly, we're expecting that here. This is no different.
I mean, he only signed a 3-year deal. This is still a very much a prove it deal. And in the NFL, you signing a 3-year deal doesn't mean a whole lot because contracts are not fully guaranteed. Like, so you still have to post good numbers. And I always want to say how underrated I think the Deontay Foreman signing was. 1 year, I mean, he played all 17 games last season for the first time in his career. He hosted 914 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. That's better than what David Montgomery did last season.
Now, David Montgomery was kind of, I ain't gonna say he was beat up, but that's another thing,
true.
bro. Like,
they also added Travis Homer as another guy who's a pass-catching running back who gives you a little more razzle-dazzle there. I mean, 1 year, $3 million for Foreman, that's a good move right there.
Special teamer.
The Bears the Bears also added the Bears also added Big Bob Tunyon.
You can't say that anymore. You can't say that anymore, David. No, he's not a Packer anymore. He's just Bob Tunyon.
He's just Robert Tunyon.
He's a scrub. He's a scrub because he was a scrub for us last year, and he'll be a scrub for you guys this year.
Well, Izzy, Izzy, be fair.
Anyways, DeMarcus Walker, a 3-year deal, $21 million. He posted career numbers across the board. It's last season in Tennessee. 7 sacks, 16 quarterback tackles, 32 tackles for a loss, 21 runs stopped in 17 games. He's a good player.
Also, Izzy, be fair. Be fair to Robert Tunyon. He was coming off an ACL injury this past season.
TJ, say it right.
You guys were like, you got it.
I'm not saying Big Bob Tunyon. I'm not doing that. That's y'all thing. Y'all can have it.
No. Now it's David's thing. No. I might bring. If you know what, I'm not DJ. I do not discriminate when it comes to fantasy football. Okay, so if Big Bob Tunyon is killing it for my fantasy team, then I'm gonna say Big Bob Tunyon on Fantasy Football Weekly. That's number one. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, they already. I mean, we already knew, right? 2 years ago that they were gonna have the most money in free agency to spend. Look what they did this year. DJ Moore. Even though they traded for him, Tremaine Edmonds, Nate Davis, T.J. Edwards, DeMarcus Walker, Dante Foreman. Even though they got a couple of those guys for the Chiefs ski.
For the Chiefs.
For the Chiefs ski. They improved their left guard position. They improved the right guard position with Nate Davis. You drafted a stud right tackle. You moved Tevin Jenkins over to left guard. You instantly, Cody Whitehair at the center. You instantly improve your offensive line just by getting Nate Davis because you get the move over components and then you get to draft the guy. You easily improve your offensive line 4 slots. Your left tackle is still a mystery. We don't Larry Borum. I mean,
no, don't do that. Don't be disrespectful to Braxton Jones like that. Don't be disrespectful to
I'm not going to disrespect him.
Don't disrespect.
Braxton Jones was good last season. Like
Braxton Jones,
he was
for a 6th-round pick. Braxton Jones was great last season. 6th-round pick.
And then Tremaine Edmonds,
he was a 5th-round pick out of Southern Utah.
Edwards,
whatever.
Studs. I take Tremaine Edmonds and T.J. Edwards, just the two of those guys over one Roquan Smith any day.
And real quick, we got Matt James joining us from break at work. Izzy, we lost you there. I can't hear. You can't hear if you're talking. We can't hear you.
Izzy, you're muted.
Yeah, you might be muted. Matt James, welcome to the show, man. We're breaking down Chicago Bears, talking about their free agency roster shakeup.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, you gotta hear me now? Okay, yeah. So getting into it, DeMarcus Walker, we talked about it, 7 sacks last year, improved the defensive edge position. They were one of the worst defensive lines last year. Deontay Foreman, David said he's probably might start. Maybe we don't know how Khalil Herbert's looking coming off that injury. This is an A as a free agency class. The Chicago Bears did it this year. Bears fans, all you fair weather Bears fans, look and hear my words. I'm a diehard Packer fan.
This is an A+.
No, hold on. I am a diehard Packer fan, and I will come up on here and swallow all my pride and say that the Bears had an excellent excellent offseason. For all you fair weather Bear fans that are out there, you guys should not be complaining tonight. Just saying.
A+ for me for the Chicago Bears. Matt James, welcome to the show, man. Give us your 2 cents on this free agency before we rip into the schedule.
Hey, gentlemen. Nice being on the show again. Yeah, I mean, you guys said it. They hit it out of the park this offseason. I love their draft, love the trades, the pickups, everything they've done. They've got 2 solid linebackers, actually 3 solid linebackers now. Sanborn continues to play how he did to be our solid number 3. Our offensive line, our pass blocking should be much, much better, and Justin Fields shouldn't have many excuses this season for, not being one of the, top 10, top 15 quarterbacks overall. Especially with the pickup of DJ Moore. You got Nate Davis, you got Darnell Wright. I mean, they did it. I mean, exactly what they were supposed to do. And next year we got 2 first rounders. One could be a top 5 too. So yeah, it should be a fun season.
TJ, great.
Wait, hold on. Oh, my bad. Before you get over to there, Matt James, did I hear you say excuses? Excuses
None.
why Justin Fields shouldn't be.
There should be no excuses.
A top 10 quarterback, but why would we put that on him? Like after they were just the worst team in football last year. You can't just be like, oh, he's gonna go from a bottom half quarterback to a top 10. That's such a major, drastic. I talked about this.
I said top 10, top 15. I mean, he should be in that realm.
I mean, with Yargo, he was probably top 15 last year anyway. So
yeah, I mean, his passing yards should go up, his turnovers should be less, and injuries. I mean, he shouldn't have to use his speed as much. So the pass blocking should be much improved for him. So he's got a number 1 receiver now.
TJ,
he'll be top 10 if he can keep those running stats up.
The free agent class, yeah, that's an A for me. Again, it's hard to grade something like realistically until you see it play, until you see it out. Like it's real easy to look at a team on paper or on the ESPN's depth chart on your phone and be like, hey man, these guys they made some moves, they can do this, I gotta see these guys.
I mean, we see the Cleveland Browns the last 3 years. We're like, oh, this team looks great on paper and they're terrible on reality.
One, know why? Because like in practice, everything's supposed to look good in practice. That's why it's practice. You're throwing against air. You're throwing against guys that don't want to hurt each other. That's why I think, come training camp, I think all 32 teams should do joint camps. From first off, preseason's only 3 weeks now, right? You only play 3 games. Get a joint training camp. You ain't got to play. You ain't got to play each other in the preseason. Just do a joint training camp with each other. That way, hey, you get tired of going up against the same guys in practice every day. Plus, those other teams don't know what you're trying to do. So yeah, I would love a Bears Vikings joint training camp, or just an example.
Bears Colts. I mean,
Bears Colts joint training
somebody
camp.
out of your conference.
Yeah.
So you're not playing a divisional rival either.
So moving on from here, let's talk about the schedule. Let's break down what we think the Bears are going to be with record prediction. Let's talk about the first game of the season as the Green Bay Packers, the new look Green Bay Packers, with Jordan Love at the helm. We'll get into Packers on Thursday. As the Packers come to town, how do you see this game shaking out between the Green Bay Packers and the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers going up against the Justin Fields-led Chicago Bears?
It's a new era.
Were you talking to me?
Yeah.
Were you supposed to hurt me with
a little bit
the Aaron Rodgers-less comments over there?
I don't have anything
else. Wait, David. Hey, I will give him credit.
Hey, when is that fiesta you're supposed to have? By the
David,
way,
yeah,
I already had it.
First off, where was the invite?
Where was my invite?
Well, you know what? We will have a fiesta. We'll have a total fiesta. Before.
Hey, but David,
probably week 1 or something. But I came out with confetti and popped the champagne. That's all I could do.
David, to his point, to his credit, it took him a lot longer. Took him a lot longer to come around, but he eventually did come around. So I will give Izzy credit on that. Go ahead, Izzy.
With that being said, I'm going to have the Bears win this game. I don't know what Jordan Love is going to look like or what that offense is going to be like. I think their defense will still be solid, but give me the Bears to beat Green Bay at Soldier Field, go to 1-0.
Izzy? It's okay. You can be a homer on this bit. You can be. I see that.
Come on, man. It's week 1 of the football season. I'm going with my Green Bay Packers, baby. What you thought this was, man?
Listen,
Stop it.
you can be a homer. You can be a homer this bit.
Week 1, I'm going to be a homer regardless.
TJ.
Come on, man. Come on,
Matt.
All right. This might be the very first time on the show over the years that I'm making an actual prediction on this game. I'm taking the Bears. Normally, I don't want to say it because it would be the other team. But no, I like our chances, like what we've been doing. And yeah, give me the Bears to win week 1.
Moving on to week number 2, they go to Raymond James Stadium, the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Come on.
I'm going to take the Bears to win this game, and they're 2-0. They're 2-0.
Man, I'm going to take Baker. Shut up. I'm going to take the Bears to win this game.
Hey, but real talk. I'm joking. I'm being facetious. That's an important game for the Chicago Bears. I'm so serious.
I agree with you. I think they really need to win that game.
That's an important game for them.
Is it important because is it like okay?
It's a barometer game.
You have an inferior team. You have an inferior team. You need to go down there and you need to bust their ass.
No, they're inferior. They're inferior in terms of quarterback play, right? They still got Mike Evans. They still got Chris Godwin. They still got some of those cats on defense that'll make it a tough out. But where you have the advantage is, I don't care that Baker Mayfield did what he did to the Raiders that one game. He's still Baker Mayfield. This is a first overall quarterback who's on his 4th team.
15, something like that.
Justin Fields is better than Baker Mayfield. Be better than Baker Mayfield.
Is it 5th?
Browns,
Panthers, Rams. Yeah, it's 14.
This is 14. This is 14.
14.
Matt, who you got winning this game?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Bears in a close one. It's not going to be as easy as it looks on paper, but I'll take the Bears. Go down there and take one on the road.
I'm taking the Bears too. Sweeping it.
Yeah. Sweep it. Yeah.
Right. Then they got back-to-back games against the AFC West. First, they got to go to Arrowhead and take on that man, Patrick Mahomes. I'm just gonna skip that game. They're gonna lose that one.
This is the real. No, like this is a barometer too, because obviously, Super Bowl champs. If you go in and you hold your own against the Super Bowl champs, everybody got to look at you differently. Right? You might lose. You might lose. Like you might lose. You probably gonna lose. But if you go in and you make the Chiefs work, you make them sweat a little bit. You got to be like, hey, this ain't finna be no push up. Yeah, you gonna put the whole league on. If it's a 1-score game, if you hold Pat Mahomes to like if you get into a 1-score game with Pat Mahomes, yeah, folks gonna look at you differently.
I think it could be a close game.
Could be a close game.
After that, let's just get that one. They go. Denver comes into Soldiers Field. New look Denver Broncos as they had retooled their offensive line. They also
that's also an important game.
Yeah.
But who wins the game, man?
All right, yeah. 1 and 2. 1
I don't know why, but I kind of think the Bears are going to trip up on this one.
2-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Bears losing this game too. I have them falling to 2-2.
Let's ride. They're actually 1 and 3 in my book.
Yeah, whatever.
They lost to the Packers. They lost to the Chiefs and they lost to the Broncos.
Moving on to the Washington Commanders game, they go to East Rutherford.
I think it's off.
Landover, Maryland, or whatever they play. Take on the Washington Commanders. And Sam Howell, probably the starting quarterback, probably for the Washington Commanders. How do you see this game shaking out, Matt?
Matty Ice.
You know what? I have Washington.
I'm
going with the Chicago Bears. I just don't like what the Commanders did this offseason. I don't think they really addressed the quarterback situation at all.
It's a lot of. I'm not even gonna do that. Like it's in order to find, like, you got to find out what you got in Sam Howell. You got to get him. You got to give him a shot. You got to give him a shot. That being said, I think this
isn't good.
I also think this
Who's
is
their back? Is their backup still? Is it still Taylor Heineke?
No, Taylor Heineke's in Atlanta, I think.
He's in Atlanta. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm gonna have to crack me a six pack. Don't steal that, David.
I'm
Crack
not
me a
going
six
to.
pack of Heineken, Taylor Heineke, when Atlanta wins. Okay, you can only say that during our fantasy show. Okay.
Atlanta's in Soldier Field in the winter. That's not going to happen.
Oh, okay. When it comes to the Commanders, they go on the road and win 2-3 for me. For
I got them winning that game too. TJ.
This is also, I think this is the first Thursday night game for them of the season.
Let me pull up the schedule on mine.
Coming off a game against Denver, they could win this game. Washington has a lot going on. Like the sale of the team is going on. Ron Rivera is likely on his way out. Again, question marks against Sam Howell. You are not garnering a lot of faith because you had one good game against a bad Dallas Cowboy team that turned out to be a bad Dallas Cowboy team. What's his name? Chase Young is playing on a tag. He's not happy about that. Give me the Bears.
Moving on from there, we got two games at home. First, they got Minnesota coming to town, and then we got the Las Vegas Raiders coming to town. How do you see these two games checking out? Start with TJ.
The Raiders.
The Vikings. I think they're gonna split with the Vikings. So this is the first game. This game in Chicago. Yeah, they're gonna win the game in Chicago, and they're gonna beat the Raiders. Because it's the same thing with the Raiders. Like
I think they go.
You got faith in Jimmy G by this point.
I'm not even sure Jimmy G will be the quarterback for this team at any point because he still hasn't passed that physical. That's a whole mess that nobody's talking about really. But yeah, I still think the Minnesota Vikings are a better team on paper than the Chicago Bears. I will have them win that game. I'm going to have the Vegas Raiders lose to the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field.
I'm actually going to go with this improved Bears defense over that Minnesota Vikings offense. I actually got them winning both these games. So right now I got them at 4-3. Nice little 3-game winning streak here for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I got them taking both these. So I mean, Jimmy G, you never know what's going to happen with him, and Bears usually play well at home at Soldier Field against Minnesota. So I got them splitting with them also.
Moving on, you got two games in the back-to-back on the road. First, they got to go to SoFi Stadium, take on the Chargers. Then they got to swing back across the country, take on the New Orleans Saints at the Caesars Superdome. How do you see these two games shaking out? Izzy?
Wow,
It's a Sunday night game. That's a Sunday night game in LA at SoFi.
See an old friend.
I'm actually, man. I'm actually gonna say that they lose to Los Angeles, but they can actually go into New Orleans and win. So I'll actually. Right now, they're 5-4.
They got to win that game against the Chargers, right? You got. It's not because of like the Khalil Mack aspect. It's Justin Herbert versus Justin Fields. You got to win that. You got to win that.
I think that's nice, but I don't think they're going to lose both those two games. I think going on the road, especially into New Orleans, is going to be a tough place to play, especially for a pretty young Bears team.
Take the crowd out early. Take the crowd out early.
Yeah, if they can. I think they're going to lose both those two games.
Why can't they? Drew Brees ain't walking through that door.
I got them at 4-5.
Drew Brees ain't walking through that door. It's Derek Carr, bro. No disrespect to Derek Carr. I'm not trying to disrespect Derek Carr.
That Saint defense is still a pretty elite. Pretty good. Their offense is probably going to be better than it was the season before.
And you can get to them. I'm
having them lose both those games. They're my predictions. So,
yeah.
TJ.
Let's see. I got them winning both games.
Matt James.
I got them.
I have them splitting, losing LA and beating New Orleans.
That's probably
from there. They go back-to-back games against the Cats of the NFC. First, the Carolina Panthers come here as DJ Moore gets a little bit of revenge against the Carolina Panthers, and they go to Ford Field, take on the Detroit Lions. Matt, how do you see those two games shaking out as they play the Cats of the NFC?
I hate to say it this way, but I think they're going to have their way against Carolina. and win that one. They should win that one fairly easily. So, and they'll lose in Detroit.
Agree with you. I think they beat Carolina fairly easily as well, and I think yes, they lose to Detroit.
I agree as well. They're was that 6-5? Right, it's their 11th game, right?
I have them at
6-5.
5-6.
Yeah, at the
Yeah.
6-5. I got them beating Carolina, losing to Detroit at Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit has one respectable season. All of a sudden, they think the sun. They think the sun shines out of their asses. The fans, not the players, the fans. Well, but that being said, Detroit, I ain't finna act like Detroit's not a tough place to play in now. The fans are gonna come. Fans are gonna come to the games now. Izzy, David, Matt, right?
Yeah,
They're gonna come. It's gonna be loud there now. Oh, I'm so scared. Anyway, I'm interested into how the Lions handle the newly found expectations.
And we will talk about them a little bit. We'll talk about them on tomorrow's episode.
They beat they beat the Panthers. I think Bryce Young's welcome to the NFL moment is going to be very unpleasant.
From there, they go before the bye. They go to Minnesota, take on the Vikings. I think that's the game they lose. Matt.
Yeah, I had them losing that one. I got to get going, fellas. Give me the Bears at 9-8 this season.
Okay.
Overall, so.
TJ, Minnesota. They're going to Minnesota.
Yeah, I told them I got a home and home split, so they're gonna lose to Minnesota going into the bye.
Yeah, I got them losing to Minnesota too. At this point, going into bye, they're 6-6. Anything can happen right now.
And then after their bye, they have 5 games remaining. Detroit comes to town. They go to Cleveland, Arizona, Atlanta, and then they go to Green Bay. Of those 5 games, how do you think those games shake out when it comes to those final 5 games?
Beat Detroit.
I'll agree with you on that. I think they do beat Detroit.
Lose to Cleveland.
I disagree with you on that. I think they beat Cleveland.
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong so bad on that one. I really, really do. Beat Arizona. Beat Atlanta. Sweet Green Bay. Sorry, Izzy. I'm being a homer. I'm being a homer on that.
For me, I got them losing to Detroit or beating Detroit in Soldiers Field. I have them going to Cleveland and beating the Cleveland Browns. I have them destroying the Arizona Cardinals, and I obviously have them losing to Atlanta, and then I have them losing to the Green Bay.
Why do you have them losing to Atlanta?
I think Atlanta's going to be good this season.
Based off what?
Based on they're going to be they're going to play a style of football that nobody's prepared for. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play all the defense. They're going to run it like crazy.
They're going to run.
What style is that?
Yeah, they're going to play really good offense.
Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, they're going to be running it down your throat.
And what's the Tyler Algier? They got 3 crazy stuff. They got 3 running backs. They're going to use them all over the field next year. That's what the Atlanta Falcons are hoping for.
And they have a good offensive line, and they have a good defense. Like they're gonna beat you.
He's got this infatuation with Atlanta. All right, especially if they start Taylor Heineke. Give me a 6-pack of Heineke.
Yeah, 6-pack of Heineken's, man.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think they go to Lambeau and they lose. I have the Chicago Bears finishing this season at 8-9, and that is a pretty solid season for the Chicago Bears.
All right. Check it out. Though this is the check out the scenario. So they come out the bye, they lose to. I think they get swept by Detroit. I think they go into Cleveland and lose. They're 6-8, and then I think they beat Arizona. Obviously, worst team in football. They beat Atlanta coming into Soldier Field right at home. So they're 8-8 right now. So right now this is shaking up to be for the last playoff spot. I think in my head. For the NFC, in my opinion, with Green Bay and Chicago, I think 9 wins will get you in that last slot, and I think both these teams come in with 8 wins, and I think both of these teams fight for that last playoff spot.
That is a lot of. Hey, I understand it. I understand the optimism because you have to be optimistic for your team. That's your team. That's your right to have that favorable outlook. But 8 wins for the Packers, I'm not even trying to be fun. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not even trying to sound like a hater. Like I'm not even trying to play up.
You are sounding like a hater though.
No, but like, hey, but seriously, like, hey,
What?
8 wins
Is
for
this
the
even coming
Packers.
out your mouth?
Absolutely.
This man really going
we will talk about
Izzy. It's not me. I'm not alone. It's the unknown. What are you getting out of Jordan Love? Like seriously, what are you getting? We don't know.
Look at my defense.
Every damn breaks after a while.
But with that being said, I have the Chicago Bears at 8-9.
Come on, man.
Let us know down in the comments section. How do you think the Chicago Bears season is going to shake out?
I got an 8-9 Chicago Bears, and they lose to my Green Bay Packers. My Green Bay Packers to get into the playoffs. How you like them apples?
That is your right to say it. That is your right.
We'll be back here tomorrow breaking down the Detroit Lions. You don't want to miss that content. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm David Huffman, Israel Rivera, TJ Hopkins. Gentlemen, what are we doing at the Prime?
How you gonna turn away from the camera? Because I said what I said.
Homer Bear fans. That's what we don't do. We don't talk to Homer. This is the worst TJ's ever been a homer on this show.
No, it's not. Oh, no, it is not. No, it is not.
Man,
for sure not. We'll be back here tomorrow. You guys all have a good night and stay safe out there.
I'm just saying, bro. If y'all come up short, if y'all come up 6-7 wins, don't be surprised, bro. That's all I'm saying. Man,
I'm really all I'm saying.
We'll break down.
Sayonara, suckers.
He don't want to hear the truth. He don't want to hear the truth.
We'll be breaking Green Bay down on Wednesday. You don't want to miss that on Thursday.